Spirit is in this place. Are we ready? Here we go. We good?
Low when nothing's else being played.
Here we go.
Like very low.
One,
When
two.
nothing else is being played.
1, 2, 3. We have come together as family. Yeah, we have come here as we are. And we have come with arms wide open. Yeah, we have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise your room with shouts of praise. Spirit is in this place. And we sing in celebration. Yeah, we sing with words of prayer. Namaste, amen. And we affirm our life as sacred. Yeah, we declare that peace is here, right now. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise a room with shouts of praise. Spirit is in this place. Come as you are.
Good morning. What do you think? Spirit in this place? I love the dancing in the aisles. I love it that we can bring dogs and people dance in the aisles. I mean, can't get any better than this. I would now, by the way, my name is Pam Watanabe, and I'm a practitioner here. And we'll talk more about what that is, but if you don't know. But right now I'd like to bring up Valerie Day with our candle, bringing in the light, reminding us that we all carry light. And this light represents the light we are as a community. So the song you just heard, Spirit is in this place, come as you are. So let's read together this affirmation. We rise together as love in commitment to ourselves and ourselves We rise together with the intention to learn about ourselves and each other. We rise together.
Well, that was an awfully quiet moment. I think it all fell on me. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ray Bradford on behalf of the host team. I just want to welcome all of you, those familiar faces and those new faces who are here joining us live, those who are watching us live on social media, streaming, and also those who may be watching us in the future through our YouTube channel. Welcome. We are different because you are here. Especially, let me say that message out to those who are joining us for the very first time. Our community is radically different. We believe that love is the essence of who we are. It's not something outside of ourselves, something that we're grasping through this book or that class or whatever. It is already something inside of ourselves. And when we know that that journey is already inside of us, it makes it a lot more powerful and a lot more accessible. But what do we do when either external conflicts or internal challenges lead us to forget that we are loved, that we are perfect just the way that we are? Well, you are in the right place, because through our music, through our teachings, through our classes, we help you find that journey back home. It's a powerful place to be. And so I welcome all of you here today and in the future. Those who are already making their journey here to this wonderful sanctuary and may not know it yet, our doors are open. We are a beacon of welcoming love, light, and enlightenment. So let me share with you that throughout today, there are some wonderful guides that will be leading you on this journey. I'm just the host. I'm just bringing them up here, kind of like the puppet here, puppet master. And so let me start by introducing you to somebody who I've had the privilege of meeting when they first stepped their toe inside of Namaste and now into this wonderful community of Pacific Coast. Our wonderful senior minister, Reverend Bobbi Becker. It also gives me a great deal of pleasure to say it for the first time in person that our music director is is the wonderful recording artist Melissa Lewis, who is joined as part of the awesome music team with the saxophone and percussion stylings today of Des Glover and David Anthony on keyboard. And so I'm going to share with you all the people who make this possible, all our volunteers, and I just politely ask you to hold the applause till the end. We have a wonderful production team. At the first among equals is our production coordinator, Carol Ann Perini, but joined very ably by the sound and online streaming team of John Broderick and Matt Profit. Also in that is Dale Mall, I believe. He is part of the team. Let me introduce you to some of our licensed practitioners. You've already met Pam Watanabe. Rachel Rosen is the meditation and high watch practitioner, holding us in spirit by grounding us throughout the service in prayer and energy and affirmations. And providing service support is Valerie Day, who you also just met. Representing our leadership team is Eileen C. Davis. You met our welcome team when you arrived. They were probably there greeting you with hugs and smiles and the occasional parking of the car. You'll get your car back. And so we thank each and every one of them over there. Our youth and family team is led by practitioners Wenda Arcala and Jackie Williams Pearson. And last but not least, coordinating that delightful spread of tasty goodies that you see every Sunday and cleaning up afterwards is the wonderful Florian Limpus and our team. So let us thank everybody right now. At this time, let me welcome back up to the stage Eileen Davis, who will share some announcements of some of the wonderful, awesome things that are happening here at Pacific Coast.
Thank you, Ray, and good morning. We have a few announcements. Thank you for listening. On the first Wednesday, I have to do this. Announcements, announcements, announcements. Let's see. On the first Wednesday of each month, Reverend Veronica will be offering a discussion group from 7 to 8 p.m. on living the four agreements. As a community, we have committed to mindful and respectful communication. Each month, we will examine what it means to practice the most critical agreements we can make with ourselves. 1, be impeccable with your word. 2, don't take anything personal. 3, don't make assumptions. And 4, do your best. Join Reverend Veronica in deep discussion about how practicing these agreements can create freedom in your life. There is no charge, but you must register on our website to be emailed the Zoom link. 15 commitments to a conscious leadership. Once a month after service, we will be discussing the book, 15 Commitments to Conscious Leadership. In this series, leaders within the community, including Leadership Council, practitioners, and other team members, will teach valuable strategies for conscious living. No fee or registration is required. Simply gather around after service with your repast and learn to be a conscious leader. On June 2nd, we have Gossip with Valerie Day and Max Rush. Also, Integrity with Linda Arcala and Diane Ronner. On July 7th, we have Appreciation with Janice Crivara and Tori Senna. And Genius by Sylvia Hungerford and Jacqueline Williams Pearson. Circle Care Sundays are coming up beginning June 23rd. Go deeper on the fourth Sunday of each month with a new format. John, please show the video.
Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Bobbi Becker, the spiritual director here at Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living. Our vision, since we came together as two communities to one, is through mindful and respectful exploration. We are creating a healthier foundation that supports and engages a whole beloved community, equipped to launch new strategies for a thriving spiritual center. To support this vision of a sustainable center, we are exploring how we can show up and provide opportunities for spiritual growth. I'm excited to introduce a new offering that will happen on the fourth Sunday of every month instead of a traditional service format. Beginning June 23rd, we will launch Circle Sunday. It is a format of a workshop that will be in place of the traditional service. We will invite you to go deeper with a spiritual principle or practice or both. And when you walk in the space that day, you will notice immediately that something is different. The room will be set up to experience smaller groups in discussion. This offering may be a possible preview of a class that will be offered the month following. We look forward to seeing you for this special regular offering to go deeper. Many blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. True Believer is a documentary film exploring the origins of Americans' religious right and pro-life movements. Debuting here at Pacific Coast on June 15th at 4 p.m. As her faith community betrays the Jesus they taught her to love, this evangelical filmmaker reckons with the political identity she built her life on. Tickets go on sale today, May 26th. And last, thank you. We'd like to thank the musical director committee that brought us Melissa Lewis, Ray Bradford, John Broderick, Valerie Day, Janice Crivara, and Carol Amperini. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Debbie, and I'm also part of the leadership team here at Pacific Coast. I just wanted to share a couple quick announcements. We want to honor all members of our valued members of our community, remember them, the people that are no longer with us, and to honor the people that are still with us, that served our beloved nation. The other thing I want to do, in addition to a thank you, is I would like to ask everybody who has a birthday this month to stand up. Do we have any birthdays? Oh, okay. Wow, love that. And I did want to just make a couple quick mentions of some milestone birthdays. So Marjorie Ray, who stood up today, has a big birthday tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to share her age, but you are welcome to ask her if you are that inquisitive. I'd also like to honor and mention one of our congregants, Tony, who could not be here today, but I just wanted to share that Tony celebrates a big milestone birthday. And again, when Tony joins us, hopefully again next week, you can inquire on her age. So thank you for your attention.
I'd like to invite you all to take a deep breath and allow this music to hopefully ground you. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. Right now, right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart, and how my mind can turn and twist and spin, just begging for some peace. That's how I know it's time to go within, be still and just breathe. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart, and with each breath I'll go deeper in this space and ground myself from the peace within this place. I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now. Yeah, I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now.
I don't want to let go of that moment. Today we're going to talk about vision and having a vision for our community. And I would like to talk about my experience of community, particularly this one. This is a very personal share, one that I've alluded to but not shared in full. I grew up in a very happy place, very happy household in Indiana on a farm. And it was that idyllic farm. My brother and I would ride bikes, and there was no one else around for 15 miles, so we made our fun. And I was also, my mother was very, very involved in our church, which was, for Southern Indiana, a very progressive Christian church at the time, way back when. Will not tell you the number. And so I was very, very involved in the church there, very involved in spirit. And I was committed. I was very, very committed throughout my junior high, high school. I believed with all my heart. And as I did in college, and still, I ran into some folks that believed kind of like the true believer, like, wait a minute, that's not what Jesus taught. Why are we going to Florida to evangelize when a bunch of college kids are there to drink? It's not going to work. And then, so I stepped away from it for a while. And my husband and I got married at 25. We moved out here. And unbeknownst to me, when my father was in his 50s, he became an alcoholic. And I say unbeknownst to me because my family drank a lot. I never did, but it was something. And until they did an intervention with him, I didn't really understand how it had gotten. And then when I was in my 50s, I started going through menopause and was very surprised to find out that women too could become alcoholics. Dismayed. And I didn't really believe it because only men in our family were alcoholics, no women. What made me so special that I got this disease? And so I went through an outpatient rehab program while I was working full-time, running a physician's office. And it was a highly stressful position with over 100 employees and 8 physicians depending on me to take care of their finances. And so after work every day, I would drive to a place called Twin Town and go to outpatient rehab. And part of that is a family program, and Keith came too, and they suggested that we find a spiritual community and that he go to Al-Anon. So we did, and we found this place. Thank God we found this place. Literally, thank God. I found the spiritual aspects of my life that I believed in so strongly, as if, oh, here you are, what I was looking for. Unfortunately, just because you get some spiritual learning, it doesn't mean that your addiction just goes away. It took 7 times of me getting sober, staying sober for sometimes months, sometimes a couple years. My family was so happy and Keith was so relieved because they were used to me being like this. And when I was drinking, I wasn't mean. I was just happy and kind of carefree and not very good at keeping doctors' finances. So I was let go from 3 different jobs over the time. Why I kept getting rehired was a tricky part. But finally, I had been taking classes all this time. I had been taking classes here the whole time. And I decided, I want to become a practitioner. I've had all the requirements of the classes. And our minister at the time, just an incredible man named Joshua Reeves, had the courage to tell me, "You're not ready yet." What the hell? What do you mean? I wasn't ready yet. The next year I joined. I became the first year of practitioner training, which is 9 months. And about halfway through, the stress of the second job with doctors got to be too much, I guess, or I had a disease. And once again, I started drinking. During my practitioner training, at one point in time, our dear Tom had to tell me, "Please don't drink when you come to practitioner training." Oh, thought they didn't notice. Ha. So I went to rehab again for 30 days at Betty Ford. And our lovely Reverend Juanita sent me the most beautiful, beautiful poem. And it's too long for me to read it, but Juanita, it made a difference. But that was the first 30-day program. Then there was a second 30-day program and a third 30-day program. And every single time, you all were here for me. You kept believing in me. You knew that somewhere, somehow, I would figure it out. And I'm very grateful to say that the 7th time through, I had that spiritual awakening where I knew that I know that I know that I know that I am loved, and it's okay. I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I don't even have to do QuickBooks anymore and spreadsheets. I can give that up. And then what I can do instead is just love you. And I do love you so much. And if you have an experience like me, stick around. There are a lot of us here that are willing to help. If you were on the other side, like my husband and my daughter, we're here too. They're here too. You unfortunately can't do everything to help the alcoholic or the drug addict or whatever, but we're here, and they will love you, and we will love you until you find your way. So thank you for letting me share.
There are people who have let the problems of today lead them to conclude that for them life is not the way. But every problem has an answer, and if yours you cannot find, you should talk it over, yeah. Find your peace of mind when you feel like life's too hard. Go on, have a talk with God. Many of us feel we walk alone without a friend, never communicating with the one who lives within, forgetting all about the one who never let you down. And you can talk about it anytime, Spirit's always around. If you feel like life's too hard, go on, have a talk with God. Well, the only free psychiatrist is known throughout the world for solving all the problems for the boys and the girls. When you feel like life's too hard, go on, have a talk with God. When you feel like life's too hard, go on, have a talk with God. When you feel like life's too hard, go on, have a talk with God.
They don't mess around. So before I get started, can you drop this down a little bit on the volume? I feel like I gotta whisper. I'm gonna ask a few people to stand. So the reason this music team, I mean, not the only reason, they're so fantastic, is a little bit higher, a little bit more up. Thank you. We'll get it. Is because we put together a community music committee who came together and selected not just the music director, but also considered the whole makeup of the music team. So I'm going to state who that is. So if you'll just stand, Carol Ann Perini, Ray Bradford, Janice Guevara, Valerie Day, John Broderick. Nice work, folks. And I'll just take the credit for picking them. Just so little. Okay, let me start with this. When I say lemon or you see a lemon, what comes up? Lemonade. Did anybody's mouth salivate? Raise your hand. Right? John was the best. I didn't even have to say, I just held this lemon up. John in the back goes, "Lemons clean coffee pots the best." Right? I mean, a lemon brings up a lot, right? I mean, it just immediately. I don't like lemonade. Oh my goodness, who doesn't like lemonade? Me. Because I have a sensitivity to sour. And when it's a little sour, it's a lot sour for me. Same with sweet. If it's a little sweet, it's really sweet for me. But the thing is, lemons are so powerful. They just show up and cause all kinds of reactions, right? But those reactions that we have, and I'm just going to set this down here because I just want to put this on the altar as a way we practice. The lemon didn't do that, did it? The lemon didn't create the reaction. And so that's kind of the spiritual journey that we have. And I find that our movement has some uniqueness to it. Our movement, for those of you that are new in the room today, we are part of an international movement called Centers for Spiritual Living. It has a long history that dates back to the founder, Ernest Holmes, who came in and introduced a number of what he believed were spiritual principles that if we learn to live them on the ground, that we could, in essence, change our lives. Now, the movement, I've said as Centers for Spiritual Living, it's a philosophy. That's what we keep calling it's a philosophy. I'd almost go into religion, except it's missing a few things that qualify us as a religion. Would you like to know what those are? Why not? Well, one, we don't sacrifice goats, so let's just take that one and put it right over here. It's a philosophy because it's a journey of study, exploration, questioning of who we are. What is God? What is the universe? Are there and what are some of the spiritual principles that we can live by that might be somewhat universal? Now, in the origins of this movement, it was very individual, very individualistic, in fact, hyper-individualistic, and it worked for the generation of the time. And over time, things have to evolve. Now, I think what's interesting about it is the most significant effect that it had on the generation at the time, I would say Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ernest Holmes devoured Ralph Waldo Emerson and a host of other philosophers at the time, because really what its intent was, we can change our stars. Now, I would say the only thing about that is in the beginning it was, I can change my stars, and where we're at now is, I can change my stars, and it's up to me to make sure that as I'm changing my stars, that I'm also aware that other stars can be changed too, by my own behavior and choices. It's why the movie we're going to be playing on June 15th, which is, it's about opening our consciousness and aware of the fact that everything we do and choose has an effect, not just on me, but on everyone else around me, everyone on the planet. Not just people, but beings, all of creation. So, again, we're classified as a philosophy, and primarily when it was created as a study or teaching movement. We teach. I'll give you something. I don't give a sermon. And the reason I don't give a sermon is, number one, I'm not a Christian minister. I'm not going to tell you about salvation. We don't use that marketing model over here. And I use marketing model because, boy, that's an incentive to show up and fill the seats. You show up because you're looking for something for yourselves, right? You're not showing up because you got to check the box that says you showed up on Sunday. And by the way, we picked Sunday because it was just a good day to do it, right? That's why we picked it. I mean, we could pick Saturday, it works too. If we picked Friday morning, none of you would show up. We could pick Friday at 5 o'clock, but some of you are at happy hour. So we thought Sunday might work. We moved it to 11 o'clock, just so our music team and our tech team could have a little bit more rest. Because we know they're out playing gigs and doing what they do and what they love. So we don't have a dogma. We don't tell you how to believe or what to believe. We don't teach you our version of God or spirit. I talk about what I believe, but it is not for you to believe. It is for you to find your own way. Now, the early generations, and each generation kind of processes this philosophy in their own way. Would you indulge me a little to kind of give you my own perspective of that? Okay. So, Generation X, I'm part of the Generation X. There's a few of us in the room. By the way, we don't care about anything. We just don't. Nobody cared about us. We were that first generation. Nobody cared about us. Mom and dad aren't home, or mom and mom aren't home. We don't care. Just go watch TV, entertain yourself. We're out front playing lawn darts, and hopefully nobody gets killed. Right? I am so glad not every generation was raised that way. So, as a Generation X, everything in this philosophy fits, because don't tell me how to believe. Just don't tell me. Let me figure it out for myself. You did anyway when I was a child. I might as well do it now. But if you're a boomer in the room, you want all your friends to be in the room with you. Because the first thing that comes out is, oh my gosh, Susan could so hear this. If she could hear this, I mean, and oh, my mother, she drives me crazy. If she was in the room, my whole life would change. Yeah, you know who you are, right? If you're a member of the silent generation, you're just listening, you're not going to challenge, and you're just going to be just fine. And you're just going to follow along. But also what's really important is the silent generation gave us structure. And that's important. If you're a millennial, you're going to want an app to practice this. Right? You've probably already looked for an app, haven't you? And you're just waiting to tell me that we need an app. And I agree with you. We need an app. If you're Generation Z, you made a TikTok or posted Instagram of all the insights you were learning all along the way, because you got to share it on social media, right? And all of that is okay because that's all how we process this. I'm sticking with generations because that was the easiest. If I went to cultural, I'm in trouble, right? We theorize about theology. Each one of us take it differently. We talk about what is our universe, what is God, what is my idea of God, and how I see the universe. And that's really important to have those kinds of conversations. Why? Why does it matter what I think about what the universe is or what is God? Really? Silence. So many of you would have spoke up until I asked that question, right? The reason we do that is because that tells us the kind of world we believe we live in. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of study around my idea of God is my idea of what my parents were. Because most of us grew up with the idea of God being some kind of parent. So if I had parents that were loving and supportive and weren't were letting me play lawn darts out and putting holes in the backs of us, then I might have an idea that, God is just going to let me walk through it all by myself. If I had trauma in my life, then I'm going to see God as being not very kind. If I grew up in a loving household, I'm going to have a much different idea of God and know that there's love everywhere. So we walk in this room with all these ideas of what the universe is. What is the world we live in? What are the politics and what's happening? My very idea of my spirituality is expressed in my view about the politics around me as well. I will devour that divisive nature of news because I want to feel safe and I want to know what's going on, which is really just someone's idea of how to keep me watching. Philosophy is an ancient discipline. It began as early as human civilization, and it was an effort to seek knowledge of all the things on earth in heaven, knowledge of natural things, causes. It led to the creation of physics and metaphysics. And knowledge of human affairs, relationships, ethics, politics, even history. What are heavenly beings? What are the stars? What are they all about? And what do I believe about when something happens? And as we evolved, so is our thinking, our belief system, and everything about it. We study, in a general sense here, in a very simple sense, we study reality. We study what it means to be spiritual from a very theoretical, because spirituality, philosophy, and religion are very abstract. And how do we look at what we believe and practice it down here on the ground with everything else? That's what we do. And we work at things and we practice things and we try to figure out practices and habits that all spring from spiritual principles, such as, very simple one, I am one with everything. What practice would I practice if I wanted to experience a reality that I'm one with everything? How would I be in the world? If creation is love, and I see everything in creation as love, which is everything that's happening around me, if I see it all as love, how would I see it? And that's the question. Now, the interesting thing about how we do things, so I'm going to talk to this because this is how kind of life unfolds. This is Reverend Bobby's version, okay? So an event happens up over on the left. My next move, sometimes, if it depends on the event, let's go with frustration. I become frustrated. There's a gap. Sorry, it's in black. It was in white. I don't know what happened. The gap to adjust happens in the moment that I'm experiencing some kind of emotion or feeling. And this is when things go wrong. When I'm not paying attention and I think that the emotion or the feeling I'm having is truly representative of the reality around me. I have an afflicting emotion, which is I'm angry, I'm annoyed, I'm anxious, whatever those things are that I'm feeling. And then I have this internal dialogue. Does anybody resonate with this? Oh, I'm so glad, because you're looking at me like a deer in headlights. I'm kidding in a sense, because what I'm thinking is you're going, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there I am. I have this internal dialogue, and then I have this emotional turmoil. And then here comes another opportunity. Sometimes what I do is I have an affirming of that internal programming, which is I start to go down the rabbit hole about how all wrong this is, about how I'm a victim here. Something happened to me, and a host of things that are happening. But what I'm not realizing in that moment, which is this is what I have to do for a living, by the way, folks, is at that moment I can catch myself again and go, okay, something's happening in me. And I ask myself the question is what is happening in me truly reflective of what's going on outside of me? And 100% of the time when I'm having an afflicting emotion, the answer is no. But it's hard to get there. So then I have all these attachments and aversions that happen, which is, oh my gosh, this happened in the past. I either have to avert it or I attach myself to it so that I can have the esteem, affection, power, control, security, and survival. Does that make sense? Then I create my own motivation and agenda and how I'm going to operate in my world so I can be safe, so I can be loved, so I can control. And then I get to start all over again. And the challenge with that is that unless I have something to interrupt that cycle, I do it over and over, all day, every day, and I continue to affirm all the things that aren't really true about me and true about my world. Make sense? So why are you here? What's that? To interrupt the cycle? Be reminded I'm in this cycle? To do something different. Go figure. I get to walk in this room and learn about myself and know that there are aspects of the reality that I've accepted as true that may or may not be true. That's the hard part. Wouldn't it be easier if it was just everybody else to blame? We come in these doors, at least I did 20 plus years ago, and came in these doors because the reality that I was living before wasn't really giving me the joy that I was promised. I was told that here's my past, the 10 Commandments. If I follow the 10 Commandments, which I'm sure I break one of them every day. Just saying. Not the big ones, just in case you're worried. But then there were other rules in my faith of origin that I broke all the time, not even aware. Or there was this promise that if I could be perfect in the eyes of God, that I would find joy. And I thought that was realistic. Anybody have that reality they were living from as a younger person or before they came in these walls? And so when I came in, for the first time I heard this. You are already perfect. You are good enough. The journey you're having is for you, not against you. That it's okay to make mistakes. That tripping is part of the deal. Bobbi, as an Enneagram 1, you don't have to be right all the time. That it's okay. Your pain is real. And you can work with that pain. And the reason that we look at this is, can we interrupt it so that further pain does not continue to reside in the body? Because that's what it does when we don't interrupt it. It takes refuge in our body. It comes out in illness, comes out in pain, it comes out in a host of things when we don't deal with it. Now, part of when we come in the door is we also look to deconstruct, dismantle old beliefs that we gained from parents and teachers and cultures and a host of things. And we all have them. There isn't a person in the room that doesn't have some belief that isn't serving them. All of us have that. And we look at what are those beliefs that I have? What makes me a spiritual being? And the really interesting thing I found is when I came in these doors is that I'm part of something greater than myself. And it's not better than me. It's just greater. The greater being, it's infinite. And that I'm a very event of the mind of God. I'm an event. Every moment of me is an event of the mind of God. So this movement combines spirituality, theology, and philosophy as abstracts. And in this room, when we walk in here, there's an opportunity to find a practice or a ritual in which we can interrupt a cycle. And I can say this, that there are times when even this movement and its practices are not enough to interrupt the cycle. We are not the answer to everything. Go figure. We can't be. I have a team of experts supporting me every week. How about you? I don't show up dressed like this. It's like a host of people helping me all week. Whether it's a therapist or a mentor or my prayer partner or someone I call in this community, my spouse, family members, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. I'm making the call. And I think that's the difference too, because the community, the application of a community consciousness is to reach out and ask for help when the very things I know aren't enough. And that's because sometimes I cannot see a reality other than the one that's hurting me. So that's why it's important for me to say, help me, help me. Now, structures that we practice, sometimes we can experience freedom or we can experience shame. If you are in a structure, a belief structure that elicits shame, I would reevaluate your structure. And it could be a family structure, it could be a spiritual structure, it could be whatever. But anything that elicits that, but also it could be my interpretation of that structure. And that's where we in this room dissect, deconstruct, dismantle in an effort to see what is it. And the trick is, some of us come in the room with the idea that if something's wrong with my belief system or somehow what I've seen, I did it wrong, we get to look at that too and bring grace to it and know that we're loved wherever we're at. We're supported with whatever it is that we're doing. Audre Lorde, one of my favorites, met her when I was in college and just love what she writes. She says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. And the whole point of what we practice here, and I'm going to talk about what we practice here, the whole point of this practice is to give us courage, to make us curious, to allow us to see the face of God in everyone in the room, everyone in the room, without fail. To see the face of God, including, and honestly the most important, is in the morning when I get up and I stand in front of the mirror and I see the face of God right there. Because that sometimes is the hardest. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so judgmental of ourselves. And so we get to look at the rigid structures also that I show up with. The ones culturally I've shown up with, whether it be through a faith tradition, a family tradition, or even just a culture that I grew up in that I identify as a culture. And see where in that culture can I show up and be less imprisoned by it. It doesn't make it wrong. It's my perception of it. That's it. It's just my perception of it. So I ask myself all the time this question: is my current way of practicing creating an immunity to my own personal evolution? I'm going to ask that again. Is my current way of practicing me creating an immunity to my personal evolution? Yes. Yes, whatever it is. If there's a part of my life where I'm really unhappy or struggling, then I have developed an immunity. So if I keep practicing the same thing over and over or affirming the same thing over and over, then I am really setting up what I would call an immunity to a new way of being. And so, what do my practices have to do with my everyday life? So let me show you this. On your left, see, I got to go this way. Oh yeah, your left. The false self practices this: blame, judgment, and worry. Its partner on the other side, the empowered self, the opposite of blame is responsibility. The opposite of judgment is curiosity, and the opposite of worry is anticipation. There is a difference. And so when I look at the false self and what it practices, I list my 3 favorites. I'm sure you might have 3 different ones. And then I looked at, well, what would I practice if I came at it from a new reality and I moved past some of the immunity that I might be affirming by some of my habits or beliefs? So if I approach the world, the way of seeing, in a way that goes, okay, if this hasn't been working, what do I need to practice? But I will tell you there are a few things that make a difference in my life and what we teach here that does open the door. If I could just get the door open, wouldn't that make a difference? If I could just crack the door open and see a new way, how do I do that? And Ernest Holmes said this: what the world needs is spiritual conviction followed by spiritual experience. I would rather see a student of this science or philosophy prove its principle than to have them repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It is far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice it. Now, you want a leader. When you look at leaders, do you look at what they say or do you look at what they do? You have to look in the mirror too, because that's where it starts. Juanita, Rev Juanita, you spot it, you got it. It's my quote for the year. What I see in the world that's wrong, I have it. No way around it. Somewhere in me. So what is it that we practice different? First, let's move beyond the idea that I'm practicing only to improve my own life. Because if I stay with my own security, my own safety, just mine, then I will for sure step all over someone else. I just will. It's just part of it. I've done it. I think I did it yesterday. Oh, actually, I did it Thursday too. Oh, did I do it bad? Oh no, that was Friday, wasn't it, Janine? Oh my gosh. I had the week like you couldn't imagine, and I think Friday I was praying the entire afternoon. I really blew it. But I blew it in a way that was like something came up to be healed. There's where I'm going to go. Something came up for me to heal, and I thought I was a little further along. Surprise! I am further along, but I got some work to do. And I just sort of bled all over somebody on the phone. I kind of think they deserved it a little bit. But ultimately, there's always a different way to do it, right? So here's what we use. And this is what I use. So first of all, mindfulness and meditation. These are the 3 practices: mindfulness, meditation, spiritual study, prayer, and inner dialogue. And I'm bringing this up for a very important reason. You can have all the vision you want, but unless you have a practice to support it, that vision will stay out there untouched. I have to crack the door. So mindfulness and meditation, what are my thoughts? Meditation is not to quiet your brain, for those of you that think that that's what meditation does. It doesn't. It may be a byproduct, but the point of it is to hear what I'm speaking to myself. As a Enneagram 1, I have this inner critic named Shane. Shane, I know that you're really scared and you think everything I'm doing is wrong right now, and it's okay, sweetie. But no, that's not true. That's me and Shane, inner critic. The only way I know that is through mindfulness and meditation. What is being spoken to me? What are my thoughts? I'm listening. I'm receptive. If I cannot listen and be receptive, I cannot do this. The second thing, spiritual study. Learn who I am as a being in my life. Contemplation. When you read something, you're ingesting things. It's important to pay attention to what I'm ingesting, because everything I'm ingesting, whether it's a video game, a movie, or a book, I'm taking in. The third thing is prayer and inner dialogue. On June 23rd, we're going to talk about the inner dialogue. Do I want to change the inner dialogue? The only way that I can change my reality, how I see it, is if I change the inner dialogue. That's what we do with prayer. We don't pray to a deity. We don't. We have an inner dialogue that speaks, and eventually, through these 5 steps, drops me into that bigger self that says, there you are. There you are. You're part of something amazing, something big, and it's bigger than what you think it is. And that's what the kind of prayer we do. We don't talk outside of ourselves. We talk in here. Those are our 3 big practices. So on June 23rd, we're going to talk about this inner dialogue piece, and that is going to be the conversation in the study on June 23rd. If you are concerned about your inner dialogue, if it just keeps telling you how wrong everyone else is and how wrong you are, something to look at, not something to judge. You're already judging yourself and everyone else so harshly. Don't, pause, stop, go in the gap, take a breath. Let us pray. So what I know in this moment, this is the inner dialogue I'm having up here. If you're wondering who I'm talking to, I'm not talking to you. But I am talking with you. There is something greater than me. There is something greater. There is an infinite power and presence. And what I recognize and believe, it is called God, Spirit, Universe. It is called by many names, including no name. It is present as all things. It is in every event, situation, and circumstance. I am one with it, and everyone in this room is. And so what I honor and declare as truth, as a community, we have come here. I have come here in community to grow in my know. That I am part of something greater, and so is everyone in this community. That every person in this room is the face of God, and I am here to participate in a community of faces of God. And that is my practice as I go through this week, and I acknowledge and open the door to a thought, a belief, a prayer, that is the prayer of this community. So I accept that, knowing it, right here and right now. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. So now this amazing music team, I cannot wait because I don't remember what they're playing. But you know it's going to be good, right?
You gotta accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum and bring gloom down to the minimum, and have faith or pandemonium liable to walk upon in the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah and the whale, Noah and the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Hey, they said we better accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative negative and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between, yeah. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Accentuate the positive and eliminate that negative. Latch on to the affirmative. Now don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum and bring gloom down to the minimum, and have faith or pandemonium, liable to walk upon to the scene to illustrate my last remark. Jonah and the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? They said we better accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between, yeah. Don't mess with Mr. In Between.
Let us give it up to our music team. I feel like I'm in a rockin' honky-tonk there from a spiritual point of view. What a wonderful message today from everybody, but most especially our senior minister, awesome minister, Bobbi Becker. Before we move on, I was just wondering, we all come here for a variety of reasons, but then we take what we need and stuff. I'm just curious, what one thing, top of mind, sticks with you from this talk? Just throw it out. What? Change. Anybody else? Positivity. What? Positivity. Awareness. Love. Transformation. One thing that stuck with me was talking about what we see, who we see first thing in the morning in the mirror. And I'll just, that is a tremendously powerful place to be. And I'll just briefly share one of the most powerful exercises that I've learned over the years, because we just gather. We are students in this classroom, and there are many teachers in this world that we run into and we gather from, is Louise Hay. She has the mirror exercise, and a very powerful exercise that I've passed on to people and I use myself. You just get it any time of day. Get in front of the mirror. Get as close as you can before you start crossing your eyes, so you can see every freckle, every pore, everything. Wait, settle into that moment. Look it in the eyes, and then just softly begin saying, I love you. And continue saying, I love you. And I tell you, when you make that connection through the eyes right here, it almost hits like a kerplunk in there. I mean, the first time I did it, I started crying. Tremendously powerful mirror exercise. If you have a challenge looking in the mirror and seeing what is looking at you back, try this exercise, because it comes back to what I said before. That exercise puts you in touch with the love that is already inside of you. It cannot be taken away. It is there, and it is meant to be celebrated, honored, and embraced. And so if you appreciate the messages that you've heard today, the songs, the messages, the food that is coming up a little bit later, we ask you to express that. And right now, one of the ways that we express is by offering to our community. So I would appreciate if the ushers would come up front to join us. They are Karen, Florette, Beth, and Jan, part of our wonderful team of volunteers. So as I mentioned, this is our time to share and to give from our heart. We believe that giving, tithing, and sharing from our good not only keeps us connected to our community, keeps us connected to each other, but keeps us connected to ourselves. I have found in my personal life that being of service and providing my time, talent, and treasure to my community is a gift that I'm giving myself. Secondarily, I give to our community, but what it does inside of me, it is just super, super, super powerful. So, before I ask you to repeat this affirmation of rising together, I would just ask if you could all just take a very deep breath and prepare yourself to say this affirmation, because what we have done is we've just taken a deep collective breath, and when we repeat and share this affirmation, we are sharing it from that deep place, not only inside our lungs, but in our spirit, that place, once again, of love. So read this with me. We rise together as love for ourselves and our community. We rise as acts of service, generosity, and the expression of our unique talents. As a committed whole, we give this gift today. And so as our ushers have already made their way through, just know that there are other ways of giving, especially for those of you joining us live on our live stream, or if you're watching this later on, we will accept your contributions and donations anytime and in any way you want to give them. You can do it through Venmo and PayPal. You can text an amount to the number on the screen, or donate through a button within our weekly newsletter. And now I'd like to invite our practitioners to please stand so we can all see you. The people that you see, yes, please. As Pamela, our dear Pamela, shared earlier, she took classes. These are people who are steeped in the teachings of not only science of mind, but the world's greatest teachers and teachings. They are here for you. They're also trained in praying with you and for you. So please know that if you feel just a calling, a little, either a soft or a very strong nudge inside, that you just want to make a connection and hold in prayer something that is stirring inside of you, something that you are visioning for yourself, or there's somebody in your life that you would like to hold in prayer, please know that you can come after service up here to the prayer corner where it says prayers happen here, or just reach out to any of the practitioners that saw. And if you still feel that need and you forget who you saw, just ask anybody at the welcome team. They will point you in the direction for a practitioner. But please take advantage of that if you feel that. It's a very powerful tool. So I now invite Valerie Day to come up and take the candle out. And as she does this, let's each one of us open the circle of our light. As she takes the light that has been present here during the service out, let us take the love, the light, the message, the joy, comfort, and ease that we felt through the service out into the world. Not only for ourselves, but for everyone else. Because at the end of the day, we all know the truth of who we are is that we are love and we are all one. So I will now invite, to close our festivities up, I will invite Senior Minister Reverend Bobbi Becker.
Okay, can I invite everyone to stand if you're able? We'll just do our closing. And how many of you love the food that's going on in our, if you've enjoyed it? Just amazing. Thank you for that. And so today, service will move to the food after the song. So for those of you that are extra hungry, just wait right back there and you can just jump in there and get a plate full. So let's do that. So let's close this with intention, with awareness, How am I feeling? Can you feel how you're feeling? Are you aware of what you're feeling? So I'm going to ask you some questions because I think it's important that you answer them with that awareness. So something's happening right now, what? Right? What is happening right now? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Nicely done. What is it called?
It is this thing called life.
Just unique every time. I love it. Where is this life?
Life is in my mind.
And?
Life is in my body.
And?
Life is all that I am.
And one more.
Life is all that we are.
What am I going to do with it?
I accept it.
Pause. You can reject it, but I don't know that that's going to work in your best interest, right? So I accept it. What's next?
I am it.
Yes.
I share it with all.
Hold on. And how? How is the next line? You ready? Just the way it appears. Pause, because this one's also important. Not our favorite, but it should be. And?
Just the way it appears not.
So in gratitude, if this is your first time, we're so glad you could join us here today. And if it's not your first time, reach out to someone in gratitude for them being there too. Because it is the face of God in each one of us from this point forward through the service that we get to anchor in. Seeing the face of God. So in that gratitude, coming from all the way up from my toes and feeling it in my body and where it lives, say this last line with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, life.
I am alive with the spirit